We are now live.
We are on.
We are live, coming to you live from the city of Wachula, Florida, in the middle of nowhere.
Hi, everyone. So we're on Facebook, on the Dragonfly Facebook account. We're on YouTube, Dragonfly Ayurveda and Yoga on YouTube. And we are on Periscope. And over here, we're on Instagram. So hi, everyone. So we might be looking in two different places.
We always look in two different places.
You look there, I'll look here.
Well, that wouldn't be fair to these people. They want to see me looking at them.
So if you wonder where we're at, we're in Wachula, Florida.
Wachula, what does that mean?
It is a such. Glad you asked.
She made me ask.
I had to look this up because I'm like, we're driving down the road and we're seeing Wachula, and then there's bird signs everywhere. And I'm like, I got to find out what in the world Wachula means. It has to do something with the bird I just know, because every time I see Wachula, I see a bird on the sign.
So Wachula means what?
It's a Seminole Indian word for bird in a nest.
Oh.
Well, I thought that was pretty cool. So we are in Bird of a Nest City or town or whatever. We are... So we're a little bit nervous about our Wi-Fi connection because we're trying out a new Wi-Fi connection.
Yes.
So we don't know how connected we are.
We don't know how alive we will be over the next 20 or 30 minutes, but we will try, and we'll go from there.
This Bird in the Nest City, we don't know how good they like their Wi-Fi. So hi, Cindy. How are you?
Hello.
Great. Good to see you all.
Good to see everyone.
Yes.
On both cameras here.
Yes.
So today, or the next couple of weeks, we're going to be talking about cleanses.
Yes.
Is that correct? And then leading up to the
Dragonfly 60-day transformation plan.
Yes.
It is September. Can you believe it?
I can believe it, but it's hard to believe.
Which, by the way, I've gotten confused on my date. Today's is the 3rd, so the 1st. This is Thursday. So Tuesday was our 18-year anniversary.
And they said we'd never make it.
We haven't yet.
That's true.
So
every day has its own prayers and challenges.
So, by the way, we are in an RV, and
She's
behind us, I'll admit that, yes. So behind us, we have a window. And so in order to try to get the lighting as good as possible, we have a towel outside on the window. Yes, my genius husband rigged that up so we can get better lighting in here. So if the wind blows just a little bit, we may lose our towel and the lighting will go bad. So just FYI, heads up.
And then we will go very dark in here.
Yes,
It looks like we have an instant suntan.
I got an instant sunburn because I've been, when we got to Wachula, I went to the pool, and unbeknownst to me, I burnt to a crisp, and my face is kind of swollen. So I don't know, I got some swelling under my eyes from too much sun. So I didn't protect myself properly. I got too excited, and there I went. And
you need some more aloe vera gel under your eyeball, under your eyes there. So we're going to talk about two cleanses. A cleanse today. We're going to talk about a cleanse next week. Today we're going to talk about the physical, natural cleanse. Mm-hmm. And so I mentioned the word Ayurveda. So for those people that are watching that don't exactly know what Ayurveda is, they may have some kind of idea, but not sure exactly. Explain what Ayurveda is.
Ayurveda is, it is literally, okay, so Veda means the science or knowledge of. So Vedas are the passing on of knowledge. So that's what Veda means in the Ayurveda word. So Ayu means life. And so Ayurveda specifically means the science of life, which is, it's phenomenal because it truly is a way of living and being as a lifestyle. So it's not just, we're going to talk about physical, but it's not just physical. Ayurveda is a way of living and being to live in balance. And then if you're familiar with Ayurveda at all, there's the 3 doshas, Pitta, Kapha, and Vata. And we talk about the 3 doshas, and we learn about the 3 doshas. And you find out in the Dragonfly 60-day program what doshas are your dominant doshas, because we all have dominant doshas. Now, there's some that are tridoshic, which means all 3 are the same.
You mean some people?
Some people that are. But for the most part, we have a dominant dosha and then a secondary dosha and a tertiary dosha. And we find out how to honor those doshas to live in heart, and then also applying that knowledge to our authenticity, such as your ethnicity, all the things that make up you, because there's no one like you. And oh yes. And so in Ayurveda, we teach you how to live authentically and not just a cookie cutter methodology. We teach you how to live and be the way that God created you to be. And in doing so, that means you will live your most optimal life. And in America specifically, since I can talk because we have the experience of living in America, there's always there's a cookie cutter methodology. In Western medicine, here's your cookie cutter pill if you've got a specific symptom. Here's your cookie cutter pill. In Ayurveda, we take that much deeper. We are not against medications, by the way. We love herbs, but if you need medication, we're not against that, but we try to teach you how to live in balance so that we can get you off of the medication. And even herbal remedies are not meant to be on forever. Herbal remedies are used to bring you the body and mind back into balance, and then let the body do its work that it was created to do.
Okay.
So by the way, back to the word Ayurveda, I needed to read this. The Charaka Samhita, which is one of the Bibles of Ayurveda, if I can say, it was Ayu means life force or prana. And in other words, as the reception, flow, and use of prana is reduced in the body, in the cellular system, or in a specific organ or gland, that area becomes compromised, leading to increased inflammation and the gradual failure of the immune system. And this is how disease takes root and progresses. And so that's why in Ayurveda, we talk about the living in balance, because we want to live in balance, because if we are living in balance, we are living with the most enhanced immune system that we can have. And so in this time and age that we're also fearful of COVID, your mainline defense is not a mask, it is your immune system. And so in Ayurveda, we're like, hey, we got this one. We teach you how to enhance your immune system, how to have the most strongest immune system to combat any type of viruses, because coronavirus isn't the only virus we're being bombarded with on a consistent basis, and you can't hide from a virus.
We're just not hearing about some of the others.
Yes, and so corona is just the big buzzword right now. And so keep in mind, we're always being bombarded by viruses. We are being bombarded by allergens.
They're lurking everywhere.
Yeah, just like the headlines on the newspaper are always coronavirus is lurking. Oh, come on now. It's a virus. We can't hide from the virus. So my main concern is about the mask issue, is that it gives us a false sense of security. And so not that I'm saying don't wear a mask, please understand me. I'm not saying that. I'm saying use your immune system as your security, and do that by eating the correct foods and living in the way that you were intended to live.
Yeah. All right, so we want to be careful of our time today, because we tend to get off on too many rabbit trails and too many other things. So we have the 60-day transformation program coming up, which is about cleanse. Today we're talking about a natural cleanse. So how would you define a cleanse? How would you say a cleanse is this? This is what you do to cleanse.
So there's many ways of cleansing, but today we're going to talk about a physical body cleanse. And so there's the spiritual cleanse and there's a material cleanse. There's many ways of cleansing. So we're going to talk about the physical cleanse.
Cleanse a lot.
So one of the things that we're going to mention is clearing out the ama.
What is ama?
Ama is toxins. So toxins is a way that we can pick up toxins from our environment. One of the main sources of toxins is by what we eat. And that is, Ayurveda focuses on removing those toxins.
Okay.
And so it's real important.
Well, I have a trivia for you that you weren't aware of.
Uh-oh.
So you mentioned the word ama, and you mentioned the word a while ago, Wachula in Seminole Indian?
Seminole Indian.
Seminole Indian means bird in a nest?
Yes.
Okay. So ama in Cherokee Indian means water. Do you know where I learned that from?
No.
Do you remember a few years ago we went to Burnsville, North Carolina, and we stayed in a cabin in the mountains, and there was a rushing creek right under the deck?
Yes.
Okay. So the name of the cabin was Amma.
Oh, and here I thought we were living in a toxic, staying in a toxic cabin.
I'm so romantic.
I know.
That
it was lovely, by the way.
It was beautiful.
I should know that because I am part Cherokee Indian.
My great-grandmother was full-blooded Cherokee.
My great-great-grandmother was full-blooded Cherokee.
Well, my great-great-great-grandmother was full-blooded Cherokee. So I'm more Cherokee than you are, even though I look like a Swedish Cherokee because I'm so pale, or an Irish Cherokee.
So needless to say, we are very proud of our Indian ethnicity, right?
Yes, very proud.
We're to the point we're competing.
And I know the word Amma in Cherokee.
Identifying as a Cherokee,
which is more than you knew.
We've got a poor connection going on Instagram so far.
All right. So let's move on. So you talked about the cleanse. You talked about clearing the Amma. And once again, because I interrupted what was going on, what is Amma?
Amma is toxins.
Okay. So what else does a cleanse do besides clear the Amma?
So it clears the Amma, and I'm looking up. I keep getting distracted with the Instagram feed because we keep going in and out on Instagram. So if you're doing the same, it doesn't appear that we're doing the same on Facebook and YouTube and Periscope, but it does. We are popping in and out with the Instagram feed. So apologize if we do have a bad feed. So what was your question, my dear?
What else besides clearing the Amma? What is a cleanse about?
It clears the Amma. It clears the microchannels of the body called sratomzes. We have energetic microchannels that go from organ to organ, tissues. It's a whole microchannel network in the body for the body's part of the body's communication system. It clears the sratomzes and also enhances digestion. So doing a cleanse is very, very important. And in traditional Ayurveda, we do this on spring, and we do it in the fall. In fall being November 22nd, I believe, and that's the first day of our Dragonfly Transform Your Life program. We start with the cleanse, and then we walk you through, for 90 days, we walk you through a whole entire cleansing program that will bring you back into balance. But for now, since we're talking about the physical cleanse, we're going to talk about thinking of your body as a temple. And so when you're doing a physical cleanse, you want to rethink your body. You're like, I've been hear this sense so often. We are spiritual beings here in a human body having a human experience, right? And so we can't experience life to our most optimal if we are not in good health. Right? Yes. So like today, for instance, we are in Wachula, we are enjoying life, we are traveling, and we went to this beautiful state park called the Hammocks, right? Was that what that park was called? So if you ever get a chance, go to the Hammocks. It was gorgeous. And we rode our bikes there and we hiked there. It was beautiful. It was gorgeous. And that is living, experiencing nature, experiencing life. That is living. And if you are physically unable to do these things, then you are not living optimally. And so that's what this is all about. It's about enhancing, no matter what health you are in or what condition, even like if you're paralyzed, enhancing the condition that you're in to live your most optimal life. Because, you know, if we are spiritual beings put in a human body, living a human experience, and we want to get the most out of that experience, then no matter what kind of body we have been placed in, whether it was born with issues, some people have been born with chronic disease, some people have cancer. These are some things that was the body that you are living in is experiencing. And so in Ayurveda, we want to say, let's walk through this and let's get you to your most optimal health so you can experience this life here on earth to your most optimal way. Can you answer? Yes, I can. And we just had somebody asking us, can you answer? Yes, feel free to ask questions. If I don't know it, I'd be glad to look it up and answer on the next show. But yes, feel free to ask questions. Any remedy for chronic constipation when Kapha is dominant. Yes, and so constipation can be a Vata issue or a Kapha issue. So I'm getting a little off track, but I love questions. So Triphala, there's a product called Triphala that in Ayurveda, I said earlier in the show when we began that we only even use herbs on a temporary basis to bring the body back into balance, and then we take it off of the herbs so the body can work optimally. Triphala, however, is a product of 3 fruits, and it is a wonderful thing to help enhance digestion. So if this person asked the question if Kapha is dominant. So there's 2 different types of constipation. Well, there's several different types, but one of the main types when we're talking doshas is a Vata constipation is generally manifest or presents itself as hard pellets. And then a Kapha type constipation is a slow, it's generally softer, but it's a slower, and you don't go to the bathroom and you kind of get miserable when you don't. So one of the first things that we always look at is Triphala. And Triphala is one of those things that you can take on a regular basis for the rest of your life. And it feeds the microbiome in the gut, which is very healthy for the gut. So we say that is one product that you can take that will help you with your constipation. There's also, we want to look at if it's truly a Kapha dominant issue, then we want to look at perhaps moving the body more. So getting stimulation through movement, through yoga, through walking, all that sort of taking Triphala, and I can barely read that daily from years. Hope it does not do any damage. No, I can't read the other word. Sorry, I don't have my glasses on, but I can see Triphala.
Isopgal.
I'm not sure either. But so Triphala does not harm the gut. Triphala actually feeds the microbiome in the gut, the natural bacteria in the gut that helps assist in digestion. So you won't harm your gut taking Triphala. That is the one thing that we can say you can supplement, and it does not harm the digestion. Psyllium husk. Be careful with psyllium husk. Psyllium husk, if you don't take enough, and that's what they just asked us, psyllium husk. If you don't consume enough water with psyllium husk, you can get bound up and cause a blockage. And so be careful with the psyllium husk. Not a thing wrong with increasing the fiber with psyllium husk, but just be careful. Make sure you are drinking lots and lots and lots of water. Also with psyllium husk, we need to be careful when we're increasing our fiber intake like that we could be losing nutrients from the body. So you can get an overuse of fibers, and you might lose some nutrients that you're taking in through your foods because it's flushing it out with the psyllium husk. So psyllium husk is fine. Just make sure you're using all the precautions that you would by drinking lots and lots of water, but don't use psyllium husk on a regular basis. So we want the body to assist and function optimally.
Yeah,
good questions.
Yeah, good question. Let's readdress also the activity, moving our bodies. That personally, I don't have a problem that was just talked about.
Constipation.
I don't have that issue. Have never had that issue, except maybe one vacation I went on, and vacations kind of mess you up anyway. But how is it that simply moving our body can help prevent that and help us to become more regular?
All right, so the person that asked the question on Instagram, and sorry, it looks like we're going in and out on Instagram again, but the person that asked it specifically said if Kapha is dominant. So again, make sure that it is a Kapha dominant issue. If it is, we want to bring Kapha in balance. First and foremost, if it's a Kapha dominance constipation, we want to bring Kapha in balance, and we go further into that through in the Dragonfly plan that I was talking about earlier. I teach you how to recognize the first signs of any dosha imbalance. But if it is truly a Kapha dominant, then we want to get out and move the body. So gentle twist in yoga, those beautiful twists that we do in yoga will help stimulate the digestion. Walking will help stimulate that. There's specific poses that will help in yoga. They call it wind releasing pose, where you lie on your back and you bring, I always say bring your right knee in, hug it in, that's your ascending colon, and then bring both knees in, that's your transverse colon, and then straighten the right leg out and hug that left knee in nice and tight. That stimulates the descending colon. And so what we want to do is we want to think about the digestion and the way the bowels move, and we want to assist that with the movement of our yoga exercises. So that was excellent questions. But the thing that we want to make sure we don't get hung up on is making sure that it is a kapha, like it's kapha dominant in balance. And we want to make sure, well, first off, let's look at the kapha and why is it out of balance, and let's bring that back into balance. And hopefully by doing so, the bowels will start to regulate. Now, me, myself, a little personal information here, since we're talking about this, I'm high Vata. And so when we travel, Vata people will not go to the bathroom. And so it's real important that I keep my Vata in balance if I'm not going to get real miserable when we travel. So doing that before you travel, if you're a high Vata person, you tend to get constipated and can't go to the bathroom when you travel, which is quite common, especially as we get older. We want to really keep that in check.
Okay. Good. You know, we're willing to talk about just about anything here.
And then you're talking to a nurse as well, which, hey, I'll talk about this till the cows come home. But in Ayurveda, bowel health is extremely important, and we want to keep that balanced and in check.
Okay. So in our cleanse then, you mentioned making the body, or remembering that our body is a temple.
Yes.
That we are spirit. We possess a soul, but we live in this body, and this body, what affects one part of us will affect all three parts of us. So what affects us physically is going to affect us emotionally, and it's also going to affect us spiritually to some degree. Maybe not to the same degree, but we're connected with each other. We're connected with ourselves first and foremost, but we're connected with each other as well, and connected to the life force itself of the universe. So what about diet in this, in the cleanse? How much of a role does that play, or is that the largest role?
Well, we in Ayurveda, we look at the body as being we are tripartite beings, as I discussed earlier, spiritual beings and having a human experience. So when we talk about a physical cleanse, we're talking about mainly diet in this particular piece of it. There's many pieces, but in this particular piece, thank you. So there's all sorts of ways to look at this, but we want to look at our body as being this temple here on this earth. So when we cleanse spring and fall, when it's the major shifts in the environment, in most people's environment, as you know, most of you know, we live in Florida. And so our summer almost all year long. And so we have very little shifts in our environment. But for most people, you have the big shifts in your environment in spring and in the fall. So getting prepared in the fall as we're coming up on for winter and how we go into winter. It's increasing and optimizing our digestion as we're going into winter, so that our immune system is as effective as possible to prevent us from getting sick. So with that being said, it gives us a chance to reevaluate and rethink, what are we putting in our bodies? What are we putting in our temples? And so are we eating processed foods? And so in traditional Ayurvedic, we do a physical cleanse, a diet cleanse. There's of the other cleanses I've mentioned earlier, that for now we'll just speak on the diet cleanse. And so in the Dragonfly plan, I veer off of traditional Ayurveda just a bit. So I give some options. So in traditional Ayurveda, we go on a khichdi cleanse, and we cleanse for anywhere from 3 days to even 2 weeks, depending on the individual. In the Dragonfly plan, I give you another option. You can do a juice cleanse, which is not traditional Ayurveda, granted, but it really enhances the effects of the cleanse. And then we move into a khichdi cleanse. Again, it's options. There's all sorts of options. Some people cannot handle a juice cleanse due to medical reasons or personal choices. perfectly fine. And some people cannot handle but just one day of khichdi cleanse, perfectly fine as well. And for those of you not knowing what khichdi is the traditional Ayurvedic dish. It's a whole meal, nourishing meal in a bowl, and it's beans and rice based. But in the Dragonfly plan, we up that nutrition, and we add bone broths when cooking our rice, and local vegetables, which is traditional, and then we do herbs that enhances digestion. And so it's a very basic diet to eliminate anything that might be causing allergens to crop up, and an increased immune response, enhanced immune response, which would be inflammation. So we're eliminating all that so we can get to and clean out the body. Remember, we're cleaning out the toxins. So particularly if you've eaten a lot of processed foods or sweets, we're starting to cleanse that out of the body to get us back into optimal health.
Now, one of the things that I think somebody had an argument with you about was that the fact that you can actually alter the cleanse. And the fact that we all have different ethnic backgrounds is one of the contributing factors to that. Yes. So originally, if we were all Indian,
yes,
then we would all cleanse the same way, or we would
yes.
all
yes.
Regenerate ourselves the same way as well.
Yes.
Right. But because we have different ethnic backgrounds, there's different things. There's different things that we might need with our background and someone else doing the same program might need. Can you talk about that just a little bit?
Yeah. So in the Dragonfly plan, I encourage everyone to find out, if you don't already, to know your ethnicity, your background. So I am a mutt. I am a Heinz 57. I did the little DNA testing. And so I got clues and helpful hints for those of you that are mutts like me. That DNA thing didn't, I can look through my mother's family's history. They've got more history than my father. I don't know a whole lot about my father's history. They didn't pass on information that I'm aware of. If by the way, any of my dad's side of the family is watching, including my dad, and you know anything further about our ethnicity, I'd love to find out about it. Because if you're a Heinz 57 like me, then you got to go through trial and error of what feels right in the body and what digests right. So remember, Ayurveda is traditionally, it's Indian based. It came from India. And so all the foods and everything is geared towards their ethnicity. So that's what they're used to eating. And so they've eaten this for generations upon generations. And so their stomachs have developed the microbiome in their gut to digest those types of foods and get the most benefits out of it. So some people can say, beans and rice don't work for me. I get gassy, I feel awful, I just can't stomach. And then then I say, let's go back to ethnicity. If you know your main ethnicity, then let's look at that. Let's take a look at what your generations before you ate, your ancestors ate, and then let's do the cleanse specified on that. Now we can always bring Ayurveda. So that's the beauty of Ayurveda, is we can always bring it in, no matter who you are and what you're dealing with.
So if you're purebred like me, it makes it a little easier to know.
Purebred Cherokee Indian.
And Irish.
He's identified purebred Cherokee Indian and Irish.
I'm pure Cherokee and Irish.
He's Chirish.
So anyway, but I'm not a Heinz 57 like you.
I'm Heinz 57. I fully admit it.
All right.
And that's okay. So we've got a question.
We can't do anything about our heritage.
Learned Ayurveda. Your knowledge is very good. Thank you. I have been studying Ayurveda for quite some time. I'm a registered nurse. I'm a yoga therapist, international certified yoga therapist. I have been interested in health for 30 some years. I've been studying holistic health, and I found Ayurveda 10 years ago. Yes. And then I went to school and got my health counselor degree through the Florida Academy of Ayurveda, and then my Ayurvedic practitioner degree through them as well. To me, all the holistic health that I had studied before it just didn't complete the circle. And when I found Ayurveda, for me, it completed my circle of allopathic or Western medicine that we know. This Ayurveda completed that circle. And so my goal in life is to integrate Western medicine and Ayurvedic medicine, because I think the two is very complementary. Allopathic more so in like emergency and critical situations, and Ayurveda more in how to live authentically and balanced. So thank you. Will Germone testing, I'm not sure what that says. Something
Genome testing.
Genome testing. Anything to understand your genetic history, any kind of information that you can gather helps. If you do not, if you're like me and you got the DNA testing done and it still doesn't give you a whole lot of information,
when you have background from 5 continents,
yeah, then we have to do trial and error, and we do foods and what feels right and what works for the body. And that's part of the cleanse. That's part of why we do the cleanse as well, because if you're like me and you just need to find what foods work for you and what foods don't, you don't know your ethnicity, then this is where the cleanse kicks in and becomes fabulous.
Okay, so let's cover one more thing. We're at 30 minutes now, so we need to begin to wrap things up. Let's talk about the brain-gut connection in the cleanse.
Okay, so did you know?
I probably did. But
I bet you did, because I've told you this a million times. But did you know that the gut is a lot of times referred to as the second brain?
I knew that.
So if your digestion is not working optimally, then more than likely you might be experiencing anxiety or depression, or even as up to like schizophrenic type feelings. And so in this day and age, we're seeing so much anxiety and so much depression. I can't tell you, it's like every time I turn around, especially young people, it's shocking how many times I hear a young person say, say, and there's a kid over there walking on top of their car. I see him out the things you see in the RV park.
Let's stick with what's going on.
So, I can't tell you how many times I've heard a young person saying their anxiety is debilitating, or they can't live optimally because of their anxiety. And to me, that's shocking. It's just shocking. And I can tell you, because of the way these kids that I personally know are eating or have been brought up on the types of foods that they were eating, that it's a direct link to that. It really is. If you've been brought up on a lot of processed foods, like fast foods, you've gone out and eaten a lot, I can guarantee there's a link there. And if we simply straighten up the diet, your life will be enhanced so dramatically that I can't even stress that's enough. And I believe in it so much. That's why I feel like God has called me to teach this. I believe in this so very much. It's my calling, and it's what I have to do. I have to teach people how to live differently because of all the things I've been told as a nurse. Even when I was a nurse in the hospital, I was working with the client, and this has been, we'll go all the way back to nursing school. I was a student nurse, and so I had this like Pollyanna view that I was going to go in, I was going to help people, I was going to make them feel so much better, and they're going to be better because of me, right? Well, that's young and dumb, but hey, I had this idea that I wanted to help people. And so I got this, one of my patients, and back then we got a patient assigned to us. We had to do a big huge care plan on them, and then we had to work out a treatment plan. And so my patient had pancreatitis, and back then pancreatitis was unheard of. And right now it's like every time you turn around, somebody has pancreatitis. So I was going in as this young, naive, innocent student nurse taking care of my patient. He'd had a wound from the pubic bone all the way up to past the sternum to keep the gut open after surgery. It was so infected. And I was packing his wounds. And the whole time, this gentleman was telling me about how he loved this product. I'm going to say it is back then, so I think they've changed the ingredients in this particular product. crystal light, and he was drinking this by, he said, the gallons. And I looked over at his bedside table, and we as a hospital personnel were bringing him his crystal light to continue to consume this product. And that was at a time when the artificial sweeteners had just came out, and I was like, hello, can we not make the connection between this pancreatitis and this artificial sweetener? And that's where in my allopathic medicine world, my Pollyanna views got a little bit like, oh, and I felt like I was more of a legal drug pusher and enhancing the life that created them to get in the position they were in to begin with.
Yeah.
Instead of correcting, instead of going deeper and saying, what caused this to begin with, and how then can we teach you and correct and do better and enhance your life that way. And that's where I believe Ayurveda comes in.
Okay. So we've got, thank you for covering that. We actually have another question. How do you stop sweet cravings or cravings for sweet at night?
Okay, so that is a multifaceted, multi-layered question. So again, unfortunately, allopathic medicine would say it's this is why. In Ayurveda, we say, well, let's take a look at all the reasons that might be going on. So sweet cravings could be something that you're needing, that there is a hole we're trying to fill. And so our body will try to fill that unconsciously or subconsciously with something sweet. So we're needing something sweet. So, and I'm going to talk a little personally, maybe we're needing to feel love, like we're a little bit lonely, and I'm talking for me, not you. I have no idea what it might be, because like I said, when it comes to cravings, there's multi reasons why we experience a craving. It could be a kapha imbalance, a kapha's out of balance, and we need balanced kapha, or it could be that we need to fill a spiritual need or an emotional need that we're not recognizing that, and it's manifesting itself as a physical craving, such as wanting a sweet.
Yeah.
And so it might be something as simple as doing essential oils with sweet smells of essential oils, playing sweet music, watching sweet movies, or getting out in nature. It could be if it's an emotional need. If it is a craving, an actual physical craving, then we want to look at dietary. Is there a nutrient that your body's needing that you're experiencing a spiritual or a sweet craving? Does that make sense?
Yes.
I said that wrong.
Because again, we are created spirit, soul, body. So sometimes we will substitute a spiritual need to try to meet that need physically.
Yes, we misread our signals. So
Yeah.
the body's always talking to us. And that's part of the reason why we do these cleanses, is because it teaches us to listen to exactly what our body needs and not misreading those signals. And so a lot of times we'll misread a spiritual or emotional need as a physical craving. And so that's when we see a craving for a sweet or a salty, things like that. If it's
Like
not
a potato chip.
Like a potato chip, which is happens to be my thing, because I bought it. We go for the potato chips, the hard and crunchy, which will throw us, by the way, more out of balance. And so it's really important that we recognize first and foremost our doshas, and then when we have a craving that's not good for us, then to find out exactly where the craving is stemming from. Is it actually something that our body is needing, or are we actually deficient somewhere else and we're misreading that signal? And so that's why we go through a physical cleanse, because we teach you in this program how to recognize those signals, how to stop and question those signals, and then try other options in order to prevent from overeating or eating something bad for us.
So we lost them for just a second, but we're back. So let me ask you this. What about substituting, instead of eating chocolate-covered peanuts for that sweet craving, what's something physically that they could actually substitute? What about fruit? What about something else?
Yes. Instead of going for a chocolates, or little chocolate's good. So let me say
Or
this.
a donut.
There's in Ayurveda, there's no bad. There's no bad. It's all about moderation. And so if you indeed need a piece of chocolate, then it's all portion control. That's all you need. Everything in balance. So keeping that in mind, no bad. If you have a sweet craving, do all the questioning, find out if you're reading that signal correctly, and then allow yourself a piece of chocolate or whatever it is that you're craving. Just make sure that it's portion control. So in Ayurveda, we teach you about the correct portions. So we need sweets, right? So this phase where I see, so nothing against paleo or keto or all that, but we eliminate all the sugar. So there's a good, we do that in our Ayurvedic cleanse as well. There's a good reasoning for eliminate them, because in America we overconsume those products terribly, like sweets or sugars and everything. We also want to consume natural sweets, so going for a piece of fruit. So it's all about re-examining, re-looking, rethinking, and then portion control. So a piece of, like, say for instance, if it's like chocolate you're needing, a piece of chocolate, then by all means, if that's what you truly need, then give yourself and allow yourself that piece of chocolate. Just don't eat like 2 candy bars or something, and try to go for choosing also. So the choices, there's organic, natural chocolate. If we're talking chocolate, choose the better option, the most healthy of that form for you, versus something that's processed and has artificial stuff in it. That make sense?
Sometimes we use food to avoid issues as well, and I know that from her past as well as mine. That sometimes we'll substitute food for something else. So if it's a late night craving and you're having a sweet craving, and then try to meet that with a small portion or a piece of fruit or something. But also, take time. We don't get quiet with ourselves.
Yes.
We don't take time to listen to what our heart is telling us, to what our knower is telling us.
Yes.
And sometimes we just need to maybe take 5 minutes in meditation. Sometimes we need to maybe pray. Sometimes we need to just think and take time to be quiet, because we live in even the people that are homebound because of the coronavirus, are still doing everything but taking time to be quiet and taking time to get quiet. And so we're filling ourselves with Facebook, we're filling ourselves with Instagram, we're filling ourselves with everything that keeps us from thinking and keeps us from doing any kind of internal dialogue or listening. Just simply learning to sit and listen to what our heart tells us or to what our spirit tells us, and maybe getting new direction, maybe getting an answer to a question that we've had for a long time.
Yeah, simply when the cravings come along, take the opportunity to sit and get quiet and ask Spirit, God, whatever your spiritual beliefs are, what does that craving mean? And let the answers come.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you for that question. That was a great one.
Very good.
So we are at 42 minutes. So we're a little over time for what we have allowed ourselves, but we're very gracious to ourselves too, because we both can get long-winded if we're talking about something.
We love our subject,
that we're passionate about.
Yes.
But anyway, next week we're going to continue with the cleanse.
And we've just asked, please save the video. We are saving the video. It will be and you're quite welcome. But we are saving the video. It will be on Facebook, Instagram. It will be saved in our Dragonfly Ayurveda, wherever you're at.
Yes.
All right.
Well, thank you for joining us
Thank
today.
you.
It's always a pleasure to host you.
Thank you.
And we wish and pray the best for you, spirit, soul, and body.
Yes. Have a beautiful rest of your day and rest of your week. Bye.
Goodbye.